Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. Fuck Ice. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and I'm going to review my second vampire comic of the week. This one, Operation Iron Coffin, and unlike Vampires, this is one I was looking forward to ahead of time. Don't get me wrong, go back and watch the Vampires review. I was very, very nice about it. This particular one, though, it hit me right where I live very quickly, very early on. Simply because it reminded me of a tabletop RPG I've run, which is called Eat the Reich, which is basically dropping a bunch of vampires in iron coffins onto Paris at the fall of the Nazis with the intention of ripping through Nazis until you finally find Hitler and murdering him. It's a great game, everyone should play it. This has a very similar concept, but it's a train and it's Nazi gold. There's obviously more going on than that. I'm not going to spoil any plot stuff for you, but think of that as a concept for the story, and if that sounds fun for you, I can tell you there's nothing in it that's going to stop you enjoying it. There's a little bit, because I have to be honest, there's a little bit of writing where I feel like they were trying to do something and didn't quite manage to do it. And it's something which I've spoken about before, which is basically making sure the reader is aware of as much as possible, but doing it in a way which makes sense for the story. Quite often this will be done by people having in-character conversations or an in-universe document. I like this kind of thing. And it feels like that's what they were going for at some point here when they're saying, oh yeah, and so the deal with this train is... But they do it once the Dracula is already on the train, murdering a bunch of Nazis, and it's like, hey, so while you're there, let's just double check to make sure we all know what's going on. And it just feels like such an unnatural thing for them to have done, to have chosen that moment to vocalise what's going on, that all I could think was, well, that's clearly there for me, for the reader. And that did take me out a little bit. It just pulled me away from the narrative just for a little bit, especially because most of, I think, what they're saying there isn't necessary for the exact point in time. We could have done this as an exploration thing, but no comic is perfect. But later on, this comic book does another flashback kind of thing where we get more info dump, but it works considerably better, even though it is literally a character in the comic book talking to the reader, or thereabouts. It's an internal monologue. If I had to be honest, it feels like it's Dracula taking mental notes for a future biographer, and that feels very much with his ego, 100%. Makes perfect sense to do this. But it does feel like it is slightly more vital information. This is basically set up for why we are where we are right now. It does multiple little shades of backup kind of stuff, but it does also have in it another small issue. This one is more to do with the visuals of it, because it's a very, very good looking book. Really nice character design, the colour palette is brilliant, all done at night with really rich, deep, dark colouring. But there's a scene in Purgatory where somebody is getting ripped relentlessly, shred to shred, where they can never die. And it's something that happens over multiple panels, and these are non-traditional panel layouts. And the fact that it's so close up on what's going on, it gets too busy, and it honestly is kind of hard to track what's going on. It takes away a little from the disgust we're supposed to feel at the amount of damage being done to the form. Minor quibble though, because the rest of the comic book looks great. Action sequences, and there are plenty out there. The violence is wonderful, and it is a really, really good, well-paced comic book, apart from that little issue with doing a bit of a lore drop where it doesn't need to happen. We get a very nice intro to just how violent it's going to be. We then get a little flashback, which is very, very necessary, and then it builds up tension to a fight against somebody who actually is a threat to Dracula. I'm not going to get details of the whys and the wherefores, but it does matter. On the way there, though, we have a really nice bit of writing, and it is this that's making it stand out for me, because we have Dracula encounter one of the, let's call it nice Nazi. The idea that somebody who's doing it because it's there to defend the fatherland, it is patriotism, it is believing what you've been told and towing the line. And historians will tell you, nice Nazis are kind of the worst. In this particular case, we do get a really good bit of writing where there's a conversation between monster and evil. The idea that monster is something which is just responding to instinct, doing what it needs to do to survive, and it can do terrible things as a result of that, but it's still a monster. Evil is making the choice. And it's really nicely framed, very well written, and the payoff for it is spectacular, because the nice Nazi does not listen in any way, shape, or form, just absolutely doubles down on hatred, spouts the kind of stuff which makes it far more likely you'd think somebody was a Nazi if they were saying that kind of thing, and it's brilliant because it's true. This is how fascism responds to these kind of claims. Anyone who says, oh yeah, maybe we can talk people out of them, yeah, maybe in a few very, very rare circumstances where people haven't got so far into it yet. But the vast majority of times, if somebody's that committed to it, when they get logic, reason, debate about why they're doing stuff and why how bad it is that they're doing it, will double down, will go deeper, because they'll feel challenged or threatened, and then they'll use that as an excuse for the terrible things they believe and do. There's a bit later on involving religion, which goes around the same kind of lines, but goes in a different way, and leads into the very, very nice reveal. Not a huge surprise, Not a major criticism. I don't feel like they were trying to have it as a full 100% gosh, oh wow moment twist at the end of the first issue, but it still didn't feel like that surprising at all. But satisfying, I will tell you that. What else? Yes, really, really good artwork, really good writing, pacing fantastic, and can't wait for the rest of it. Go and get Eat the Reich if you're a tabletop role-playing fan, and then go and read Operation Iron Coffin too. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!